What is going to happen in Russia? I don't think anybody really knows at this reporting. Boris Yeltsin claims that he fired the entire Russian parliament, and he says he is the man in charge. The Russian parliament, on the other hand, says that it fired Boris Yeltsin, and its members are insisting the vice president, Yeltsin's bitter enemy, is now the man in charge. It is a Russian standoff, a stalemate, and a dangerous situation. And the future of democracy in a former superpower run by the communists hangs in the balance right now. As many as 4,000 protesters, many carrying the old Soviet flag, demonstrating outside the Parliament building in Moscow tonight, showing their opposition to the decree announced by Yeltsin on Soviet television yesterday. After nearly 2 years of bitterly battling with the former communist in the legislature, he said that he is dissolving the Parliament, and he called for the election of a new legislature in the month of December.
Those measures are necessary, absolutely essential, to protect Russia and the whole world of catastrophic consequences of disintegration and possible anarchy in Russia, with a huge arsenal of nuclear arms.
Inside the Parliament, there was quick reaction, defiance from those who have opposed Yeltsin's free market reforms.
This is literally a coup d'etat, and we should act accordingly.
The Parliament then quickly declared Yeltsin's action illegal and voted to impeach him. It named Yeltsin's rival, the vice president, Alexander Ruskoy, as the acting president. Ruskoy ordered all government leaders to obey the Parliament, not Mr. Yeltsin. But the security forces and the all-important, vitally necessary Russian military are apparently backing Yeltsin, proclaiming they are neutral. In Washington, D.C., the Clinton administration is backing Yeltsin, even though he admits he's breaching the Russian Constitution.
The Clinton administration supports President Yeltsin and his program for democratic reform. We believe that the Russian people should have the right to determine the political future of their country at the ballot box. We urge Russian leaders at all levels to work together in a democratic process that maintains peace and stability while fully respecting civil liberties and individual human rights.
The latest word from Mr. Yeltsin, the first job for the new legislature to be elected in December, if indeed it is elected, will be to adopt a new constitution. His authority for violating the old Soviet-era constitution is apparently a referendum that he won last spring. Diana?
In politics at home tonight, an endorsement by veteran incumbent Coleman Young could shake up the race for mayor of the city of Detroit. Channel 7 News broke the story this evening. His honor is throwing 20 years of clout behind Sharon McPhail. And tonight, there are signs that his vote of confidence could be a big boost to her campaign. More on the story from Channel 7's Mike Huckman.
Good evening, McPhail from there. May I help you?
The phones were ringing off the hook and people were opening their checkbooks. Sharon McPhail hopes she can also endorse a check from Mayor Coleman Young now that he has endorsed her.
It's certainly a possibility. I hope so. I hope I get some help because I've had to do this with volunteers, dedicated volunteers, but nonetheless volunteers and very little money.
While the mayor's money could come later, for now, Young is just paying respect to McPhail. In a written statement, the mayor said, quote, "As this campaign is developed, it has become increasingly clear to me that Sharon McPhail is the candidate who has what the job demands. I will be voting for Sharon McPhail," end quote.
I got today the endorsement of Coleman Young, but I still believe.
McPhail was already touting the endorsement at this U of D candidates forum, which was missing one candidate. But Dennis Archer, who's at a Chicago fundraiser, issued this statement about the endorsement. Quote, "I'm not running for Young's approval. I'm running for the future of this city. The endorsement I'm looking for is on November 2nd, an endorsement for change from the voters of Detroit. Now more than ever, the choice is clear," end quote.
I guess he didn't think that last week when he sought the mayor's endorsement. Now because he didn't get it, it sounds to me like, frankly, a sour grapes kind of response.
Voter response to the Young endorsement is mixed.
He's been there 20 years, so I think he got a lot of, insight on who would be the best mayor of Detroit.
I think that it would be a liability to her.
Why is that?
If people want a change in the city, vote for a change. And I would say vote for Archer.
It is hard, though, to accurately gauge the spirit of Detroit when it comes to a Coleman Young endorsement. It is safe to say, though, that at least some voters want to know just how much of the spirit of Coleman Young will guide Sharon McPhail. In Detroit, Mike Huckman, Channel 7 Action News, reporting.
4 Detroit teenagers on the receiving end of a violent surprise when they left the store tonight on the city's southwest side. A hail of bullets fired from a shotgun. They were all wounded, and they're now recovering at Henry Ford Hospital. The attack appears to be connected to gang activities in the neighborhood. Channel 7's Bill Proctor has more on the shooting.
The curious, many of them young people who said they'd heard gunshots here before, filled the street outside the auto parts store on McGraw soon after someone fired what appeared to be a sawed-off shotgun from a passing car. The pellets from the blast not only peppered this white vehicle, but struck 4 teenagers, young men who were very likely the target of the attack. A friend of one of the victims says they were working on the radio in this 2-door car, pulled up to Olympia to get some parts for the radio, and when they went inside, made their purchase, they came out to an ambush.
I live right down the street. That's where they ran to was my house. They ran to my house when they got shot. The one boy, he's kind of bad. He was shot in the chest from the neck to the abdomen. And the other boy shot in the face, in the eyes and stuff, and the other 2 are just in the legs.
Tony's nephew was one of the victims. He agrees with police at the scene that once again, this was gang